Thank you, Daisy. Next we have David Lilies. He's been a social and environmental justice activist for 20 years and is currently working for Progreso Latino.
Thank you very much. Wow, what great speakers. For 20 years, since I was 10, that making some younger. Poverty and racism are linked. I think some of you, most of you, probably all of you know that, but there seems to be a breakdown in the narrative. A lot of times, people talk to me about how it is that I came to be who I am and where I am. They're like, oh my God, you made it out. Like, you did so well. Like, why is it that people in your community are so struggling? Why can't people just bring themselves up by the bootstraps, as they say? I think the separation of this concept is when we see racism, like, people being, the cops being called on people not supposed to be called, we're outraged. But racism has become so embedded in our society, so institutionalized that it's camouflaged. It's become the norm. It's become what everyone sees as normal. So when you have housing disparities, when you have wage disparities, when you have the only neighborhood in the South Providence where they want to build an LNG plant, when that is the neighborhood that is picked out, it is not by mistake. This is because these are communities that are already marginalized. These are communities, black and brown communities, that they feel don't have enough political power, and yes, we need to mobilize more, but they feel like we don't have enough political power that they can do what they want. I'm honored to go after, I'm going to call you young, the woman that just spoke about immigration. I am also an immigration organizer. I was just at the Statehouse a week ago for the battle for licenses for all Rhode Islanders, and it brings up a personal story for me too. When I was speaking and when I was testifying, it didn't pass. We did have one legislation pass, which is going to impact DACA recipients. You could clap for that. But the bigger argument that I kept hearing was, oh, well, people are undocumented, people are immigrants, we don't deserve to put value to these people's experiences. Now, for me, it's interesting. I came to this country undocumented when I was 4, with my mom, who was also, we were all undocumented, my mom, my sister, my brother, and I, because we had no other choice. We were fleeing a war that was created by the U.S. So this is an interesting thing, right? The U.S. created a war because they were in support of U.S. corporations. And after the genocide began in Guatemala, by the way, that's what I'm talking to. Could have been a lot of countries, right? All of you were like, I wonder where he's from. Guatemala, we had to come here. And after they came to our country and messed it up, and then we came here with no other reason, then I have to struggle my whole life to prove that I deserve to be here. And I've said this before, and thank you, Steve, for quoting me. I saw that. For me, it's a human issue. We hear a lot of terms. We hear a lot of words. We hear undocumented. We hear illegal, which I hate. We hear, immigrant. We hear all this. We're forgetting this is a human being issue. This is a human being. People are trying to work, support their families, raise children, eat, live. And I think sometimes that is missed in the conversations. So please, I feel like the mic didn't do this for other people. I'm looking at people right now. This is an important, momentous time in our country, I think. But it's always been like this. This is, like the woman who is speaking, thank you for saying that. A lot of us who, in our country, who just woke up, and a lot of us who have been doing this work for a very long time know that this is nothing new. We have cell phones now, so we can record things. But I was 10 years old when I was first searched by the cops. I used to be searched once a week growing up in the Bronx. Under Giuliani, by the way, who was the mayor at the time, he would have people searched ridiculously. Like, we would be put on the floor, our pants, pulled down to make sure we didn't have anything, since I was 10 to I was 25. Think about how that changes a person. Think about a young man of color, young women of color, growing up in a system of oppression, not only by the people that are there, that they see as oppressive, but as the people that are there to protect them. That changes you. It changes the whole community, and it changes the landscape of that community for generations. I think I'm ranting now, but I will say thank you for having me. I'm honored. There's going to be a couple of bills that you guys can support. The DACA bill hopefully will definitely pass on Wednesday, but we are still not done. We're still fighting for minimum wage to be raised to $15. We're still fighting, and these are scraps, by the way, but we are fighting to get whatever we can. We're still fighting a bill, and you can come ask me later about housing discrimination for Section 8 vouchers. Thank you for having me. I'm going to end on that.